All right, so before we begin, this is a recorded simulation second session um, as a therapy session for 506 class, uh, School of Social Work. All right, so I guess we'll just get into it. Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Yeah, did you have any issues with the Zoom getting in today or figuring that out?
No, I don't think so. It was fine.
Okay. Um, how are you feeling physically?
Tired. I have a headache.
Hmm, tired, headache. Um, have you had work today already?
Yeah, no, I got bumped to midnight. So now I have to go into work like tonight, which is
Mm. And have you ever worked a midnight shift before?
I have. I was midnights when when they first hired me and I hated it. And then I've also done afternoons. And then I was on day shift. And the last time we were talked, I was on day shift. And then my boss just like called me into the office the other day and he was like, "You're getting bumped to midnight starting in, like 2 days." So then I did. And then I was like super pissed about it. So I was talking about it in the satellite room, like it's where like the vending machines and like all that stuff are. And like, I don't know, he came in here and he was like, "I don't get why you're talking so much shit about it. Like, just shut up and do your job." And then he like told me to go back on my job. And I was like, "But I'm on a break." And he was just such an asshole about it.
Um,
I have a different boss though, like on midnight. So like, I'm like, I guess that's good.
so your permanent schedule is now midnight, or it's just a temporary thing?
It's, like, always temporary, I guess. I don't know. I've since I've, like, only been there for, like, a few months, like, I have the lowest amount of seniority in the, in the department. So, like, since it's all, like, seniority based, like, I don't really get a choice of, like, what my schedule is, you know? Like, I'm, like, working with, like, a bunch of old guys who, have, like, 10, 15, years in.
Um, so you said you have a different boss at midnight than you do in the day shifts. Um,
Mhm.
you tell me a little bit more about your two bosses, I guess. Are there two of them?
Well, yeah, like everyone, like each foreman has like their own shift, like that they just take over. I don't know. My night one is fine. He's really flirty. He keeps trying to take me out for like a drink. And I keep telling him no. I think he's married though, or he's got a girlfriend. I don't know. Like the plant rumor is like he was dating this woman named Trina or something.
Mm.
I'm not sure. But anyways, he just kind of flirts around. He's fine.
And your day shift boss is the one that you don't like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really like either of them. They're just two different types of things I don't like, right? Like I can deal with the flirty guy. I'll just flirt back and like he leaves me alone.
Mhm.
But like the day shift guy just like kind of like says mean things all the time and like cusses me out all the time and tells me to do stuff and it's just stupid.
Mhm. Um, how? Yeah, that's definitely really hard, especially with kind of two different ends of the spectrum. It sounds like, right? Of things you don't necessarily like. How have the last couple of weeks been since we last talked?
I don't know. It's just the same stuff. Like I've just been hanging out like at home still. Like just, chilling in the basement. I don't know. My dad's happy that I'm on midnight, so now he has like the car. So he's like happy about that. But that's pretty much it. I mean, my friend like calls me still and she's like, "Let's go out." And I just don't like want to.
Why is your dad happy about having the car?
Well, we just have that one car. So like when I was on days, like he either had to drive me to work or like I would have the car all day, you know?
Mhm.
So now if he like wants to go to the grocery store or something like during the day, he can.
Oh, because you're home and the car is not at work, is what you're saying.
Mhm.
I see. I thought you meant he wanted the car at midnight, and I was a little confused, so I just wanted to make
Oh,
sure. Yeah.
no.
Okay. No, that totally makes sense. Um, how are your parents?
I mean the same, like my mom's just, I don't know, passed out on the couch right now, being her regular old self. And I don't know, my dad just keeps telling me like I can't lose like the Ford's job and just like to be nice to my bosses, and he just like doesn't get it that like I don't know, like I don't like it right now, but it's fine. It's money and it's just money.
Um, I remember last session you mentioned that your dad is Romanian. He speaks.
Yeah.
So do you understand Romanian, or I think you said you don't speak Romanian, but you understand it.
Well, like I used to speak it all the time, like me and my brothers, like we and my sisters, like we used to speak it. But then like I don't know, when I was in school, they started putting me in like those special classes, for like not reading right and like speech and stuff. Like I didn't need any of that, but they just like didn't want me to speak Romanian anymore. So then I learned English and I was always speaking English, and then like I don't know. It's just enough of that. Like I stopped speaking really Romanian. I mean, like I know some Romanian, but not enough to like go to Romania and like talk to my dad's family.
So when you and your dad speak, he speaks to you in Romanian and you respond in English.
He speaks in like his broken English a lot of the time. I don't know. He doesn't really speak a lot anyways. Like it's a lot of like, just kind of like these like nonchalant, like just I don't know. He speaks like a whole conversation in like one sigh,
Mm.
just or like he'll ask one question like why you think that's okay, and then like walk away.
So your dad's not very expressive,
I guess. I mean like his yeah, no, he's not.
and he wants you to have the job at Ford.
Well, yeah, we need the money.
Tell me a little bit more about that, about the money situation.
Um, like what do you mean? Like, I don't know. It's just me and my mom and dad, and like pay for everything pretty much. I mean, my grandma or like mm, my dad gets like, social security checks,
Mhm.
but like that's not enough. My mom doesn't get any. She's never really worked. So like it's just my paycheck and then my parents. My like siblings don't ever like help out. They're so cheap. But I don't know. And my one sister, Pat, that would help out, like isn't gonna help out because she takes care of my other sister. So I don't know. I help pay the mortgage and I help pay for the car and I help pay for all the groceries and I mean that's pretty much it.
It sounds like a lot of pressure on you to support your parents and yourself.
I mean, if I'm not gonna do it, who is?
Mm. So you feel like you have no choice.
Do I have a choice?
Um, I don't know if it's my place to say whether or not you have a choice. I just wanted to hear kind of from your perspective how you're feeling, and kind of gauge, where you're at, in terms of your family dynamic. And it sounds like, um, I think you said today for the first time that you don't like your job at Ford. Last time, maybe because it was relatively recent. Um, Kind of seemed like you're on the fence, and there were some things you liked about it, like you made so much more money than you ever had. You had benefits. Um, which I'm assuming are still true.
Mhm.
Um, but there were some things that you're kind of like, I don't know about this, in terms of work. And now we're meeting for a second time, and we're coming back. It sounds like it's shifted a little bit, in terms of how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know. I don't like my job right now. I hate midnights. I'm so tired. I just want to like sleep all day.
Mhm.
Like, I have no life right now. I'm like, these guys just won't stop. Like, I thought they were gonna let up, and then like they just don't stop. And like night sucks because like all the guys I work with are like drunk or they're on something or they're like trying to stay awake, and it's just like they just need to stop and they won't stop.
Um, yeah, I mean, that sounds like it would take a toll on anybody. I mean, if you have people constantly, in your face, um, relentlessly doing things, first of all, that are unprofessional, right? Like what they're doing has nothing to do with work. And then on top of that, they're kind of making advances on you that you don't want. Um, that that sounds like it's taking a toll on you.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Do you do you think about that after work too? I mean, it sounds like you brought it up pretty quickly. Sounds like it's been on your mind.
Well, yeah, like getting switched nights just, I don't know. I came home and I was complaining about it. And my mom just like yelled at me and just told me to shut up. And then my dad yelled at me, mostly in Romanian at that point, which I just ignore anyways. I mean, they're just like thinking about how much money I'm making and how much like this paycheck is like finally helping us out, you know? I'm like, I get it. It's great. I like having insurance. This is actually pretty cool. Like insurance that like covers stuff.
Mhm.
And it's cool like having money, but like I don't know, I just don't like it. But I'm also like coming up now to the 4 month mark of like working here, and I don't know, I haven't worked very long at a lot of places, so maybe it's just me, maybe it's just because I'm, you know, I'm being too picky. Like this probably is no big deal and I'm just making it into a big deal, and like boys will be boys and that's it.
Um, yeah, definitely hearing a lot going on there, especially with how your parents are talking to you about work, right? And then you have how work is kind of treating you. Um, I want to hear, if you don't mind sharing a little bit more about um, how you feel when your parents are talking to you after work.
I don't know, I think they just like, it's never changed. Like I when I was like 10 or 15 or 20 and now I'm 30, like it just doesn't change. It's always the same thing. And like the same kind of lines and the same like old shit. Like it just doesn't change. It's like the same always. So I don't
Mm,
know. Like
mhm.
I get it. I don't have like a boyfriend right now. I'm single. Like I never got married like Pat. Like I don't know, it's just never changed.
Mm. And so I'm hearing this is kind of something, that's been going on for what it seems like most of your life. Um, I'm curious as to what it was like for you growing up. I know you're one of seven.
Mhm.
I see you have a lot of siblings. And you're saying your dynamic with your parents hasn't changed. Um, would you mind speaking a little bit about kind of like what it was like for you growing up?
I
Maybe
mean, I don't
starting
know.
from
I
the
was
beginning.
like, yeah, I was the baby. Like
Mhm.
my older brother Ricky, like just always made fun of me. Like, just
Mhm.
he was closer to me, but now he doesn't talk to us anymore. Like my oldest sister, Pat, was like, she doesn't ever do anything wrong. Everybody looks up to her. She got married and she has like money and she lives over in Grosse Pointe. And now though, she's like older, she's like 47 and like,
Mhm.
I don't know, my mom and dad just look at her as an adult, but like they always looked at her as an adult. Like her first marriage, she was like 18. So I don't know. Like her kids are they're like almost my age. Like my my nephews are like just a few years younger than me. So it's like super weird to be like Aunt Lucy, but like we were in like school at the same time, but like Pat does no wrong. And then I don't know, my other sister Michelle, who lives with her, just kind of like lives with her, like she helped take care of the boys. She needs extra help anyways. And then my other sister Melanie is just such a fucking bitch. Sorry, shouldn't be swearing.
No, speak.
But she's so awful and just, I don't know. No one talks to her anymore. She doesn't talk to us. She thinks like we should have money or something. Like when my brothers died, like I don't know what she thought. She thought we were gonna get money or they had money or something, but like everyone just fought about like who got what. And it was like bullshit. So I don't know. Like when my brother Bobby died, like he was single. He was like, like he wasn't married yet or anything. He was still living at home with us. And like she's like going through his sock drawer looking like for money, like as if he had it. I
Mm.
don't know. And then when Polly died, it was like the same thing. Like we should have got some settlement. I don't even know. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. Like me and Pat, we talk, but like we don't talk. Like she's so much older, you know.
How much
Like
older is that?
she's like 17 years older than me.
Okay, so pretty significant.
Yeah, she's the oldest. I don't know. Like maybe one day we could be friends. I don't know, but right now it's just like be more like Patty, be more like Patty. Like that's my mom. Like just be like Patty.
Even as a kid.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Like I don't know. Like as a kid, we just kind of like watched ourselves. We all just fought and did stupid stuff all the time. Oh, one time me and Ricky were fighting. We fell through a window on our porch. Another time Bobby threw this like ashtray at Paul's like face and just like cut him and he had all these stitches. My dad like put the stitches in. Oh, that sucked. He doesn't know how to do stitches. He just like sewed them up. We didn't have healthcare.
So you guys were pretty active bunch, I would say, as kids. What I'm hearing, kind of at odds sometimes as siblings are. Um,
I guess it was just like normal, like, brothers and sisters, and sometimes it got physical and it was just like family, right? And my dad would be working at the time, and then I don't know, my mom was usually pregnant with the next kid. And she did get pregnant a couple times after me, but she miscarried. And I don't know, I don't remember her like why she ended up not getting pregnant anymore. I don't know.
how do you view your childhood looking back on it? No.
Hmm. I guess I've never really thought about that. I don't know. I think it was, I don't know. I guess it was just normal. It
Mhm.
wasn't any different than like all the people around me. We're all kind of having the same stuff.
In your neighborhood?
Yeah.
So there were a lot of big families in your neighborhood?
Well, even if it wasn't like a big family, so before now my mom just like takes pills, but before she took pills, she used to just drink. So she would go over to like our neighbor Jessica, like she would go over to Jess's house and like drink with her on the porch. Or like, like they were just everyone was friendly. Everyone was like, going up, she would go up and down the street and kind of like, talk to everybody. And
This was when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And now what I'm hearing is at least your siblings are all kind of spread out. Obviously, um, you've lost two of your brothers, but the rest of your siblings are kind of spread out. Um, and some of which you don't talk. Melanie, you don't talk to.
Yeah.
Um, when would you say that kind of started happening?
When we stopped talking,
Yeah, or just kind of like the spreading out of the family, for lack of a better term.
I guess it was when everyone, kind of graduated high school. I mean, everyone did graduate high school. My parents didn't, but I mean, all of us kids did. And then, like, I don't know, I don't know, Pat one got married. And then when she had her oldest son, she needed help taking care of him, and Michelle wasn't going to be doing anything anyways. So she ended up going and moving in with her and help take care of the kids.
So it sounds like Pat getting married has kind of been uh, an important point in kind of the timeline of your family. And you mentioned it a couple times, um, and you talked about how everyone looked up to her, right, and kind of treated her as an adult. Um, how how has that affected you? Like when she got married, how did you feel?
I mean, it was fine. I guess like I would get frustrated with like her first husband.
Mm.
Oh, Jim, he was such an ass. He would
So
come over.
she's married twice now. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. She like got married, right out of high school, had kids, and then oh gosh, I don't even remember what year it was, but they got divorced. But like the next year after she got divorced, she remarried my brother-in-law, Joe. And like they're two different people. Like Jim was just a mean person, but like he would come over and he would shoot the shit with my dad, and like I don't know, he was like my dad's favorite person. They still have this weird relationship like where they're like close, but I don't know. Anyways, so I would get frustrated with that. Now it's like it's okay. Like her other husband, like he had kids and stuff too, so now they just have like each other's kids, together. And like I don't know. He's a good guy. He's got a really good job. He's nice. Everyone likes him. So that's fine. I guess it's just, like I'm not getting married anytime soon. So
Mm. How come?
I'm not dating anybody. And like, what? What do I have to say to a guy? Like, hey, you want to date me and my mom and dad?
Mm.
Like, that's not cool.
So your parents, or your dynamic with your parents, affects how you view dating, is what you're saying.
I guess. I mean, maybe after they die, like I'll have more time, but between like work and then I'm taking, my mom to her appointments, and I don't know, taking care of both of them. And my dad's had some health issues. I mean, he's in his 70s and she's in her 60s, and it's just kind of like, it's just not the right time right now.
I remember you mentioned last time your dad has heart issues.
Yeah. So, I do his pills for him, and I tell him his morning and his midday and afternoon and night pills and all that stuff. And I mean, my mom just takes pills to take pills, and that's about it. I'm not allowed to touch her pills though. Those are a little different, but
Is your mom addicted to pills?
I mean, like that's like all she does. It's like take them. I don't know like about addiction. It's not like I'm gonna call the cops on her or something.
Um, Now I know you've mentioned that she takes them and kind of just lays on the couch or relaxes, or they kind of take her out a little bit mentally.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Sometimes she even like drools on herself.
Mm. Yeah. How does that affect you, especially coming home from work?
I mean, it's fine if she's out, but if like I'm coming home from work, sometimes you just don't know what you're gonna hit, especially if it's the end of like the refill cycle, and if she has any left or if she doesn't. And
So you're used to it, is what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's better than the alcohol.
Hmm. Tell me more about that.
Pretty mean. Like it's just better than the alcohol. The alcohol was just, I don't know, the alcohol ran out faster, and the alcohol like she couldn't just keep drinking the alcohol, like she had to stop. And I don't know, she just, the alcohol would lead to vomiting and everything, and
Mhm.
just it was different. Like she would stop the alcohol. The pills, at least she just can keep taking.
Um, and when would you say she kind of switched from one to another?
When those ads popped up on TV, you
Mm,
know, like, well, she went to the doctor and she's got the arthritis, right? Like her hands are all crooked, and so she went to the doctor for the arthritis, and she got the shots. I forgot what they're called, the cortisone shots, and then the doctor was like, "Hey, have you tried?" And I think it was like Oxycontin. So then she started taking those. Then like he's like, "I can't give you the Oxycontin anymore." But then she ended up switching over to Percocets to help with the arthritis pain, and then it's just kind of happened from there. And then I remember she saw an ad for the Ativan, and so then she started taking that and the Klonopin. And I mean, that's pretty much, oh, and then the Valium ended up happening too, because then she got all anxiety. Like, I can't put her in the car anymore because she gets freaked out about the car. She thinks we're going to have an accident. So she'll take a Valium before we get in the car. And then I take her to the doctor. And then I don't know. She just goes back there and he hands her scripts and sometimes samples. And then she would come back out. And now it's a little different because there's like different regulations and stuff, but she keeps going to the same types of doctors, and they just keep kind of giving her the same stuff.
it sounds like your mom's in a lot of pain from her arthritis.
Yeah, she's pretty like, I don't know, she's got the arthritis and she's got the osteoporosis, and she's got, just the forgot what it's called. I don't know, she's got a couple things, and she gets stomach aches once in a while, lots of stomach aches, and then she's just not okay. So she just takes pills.
And so you're okay with your mom taking the pills because it takes the pain away from her.
Yeah. I mean that, and then she's not a bitch.
And it also makes it easier on you to shoulder your load.
Oh yeah, when she misses, she's like, the other day, not the other day, maybe a couple months ago, she ran out of Percocets a little early, and her refill wasn't for like 7 more days. So just for 7 days, she was just awful.
Mm,
Oh, she was so mean.
Um, yeah, I mean, that sounds hard to deal with, um, especially given what you got going on in your own life, and then you got your dad in the equation with his health. Um, then you have your financial support that you're providing for everybody, all three of you guys in the house. And on top of that, if she isn't feeling well or is cranky, to put it lightly, um, sounds like that can really add up.
Yeah, it does.
Mm.
So I'm not gonna add a marriage on top of that.
Yeah, and that can be a healthy outlook, to make sure that you're in a good spot um, before kind of taking on somebody else. And it sounds like you have a lot going on. Um, I'm curious what, in the last couple weeks since we've seen each other, and I may have asked you something of similar note before, but just given new day, new information, new things that have happened, what have you been doing lately to keep yourself sane, in all the things that are going on in your life?
I mean, nothing really. I work. I've been coming home,
Mhm.
you know, drinking a Bud Light here or there. maybe sometimes one of them seltzers, going in the basement, watching some TV or some Netflix or something, and
Mhm.
just sitting around, you know. Everyone at work keeps talking about them Squid Games, that show.
Mhm.
Couldn't watch it. That was too scary. So I've just been watching TV. I
And
don't know. Cheryl keeps texting me. She's like, you should come out, but I don't know. I don't want to drive. I don't want to go out.
mhm. um, you said Cheryl, your friend Cheryl that you talked about last from high school, right?
Yeah.
Um, and she's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine. She's going out. She's partying.
Mhm.
She's still doing it.
And when's the last time you actually hung out with her or seen her?
Probably like when I first started my job.
Oh, so it's been a little while now, hasn't it? Did you started a couple months ago now?
Yeah, yeah, it's almost 4 months now. So yeah, it's been a while.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, she'll text me once, and she'll send me like a Snapchat of like them all out at the bar and stuff, and you know, like I don't know. I'm too tired. I just don't even feel like it. I'm just gonna sit in the basement and watch TV or something.
And does um sitting in the basement and watching TV, how does that make you feel?
I don't know. I mean, like I like it. I like the shows. My shows are good. Like, I'm looking forward to my Grey's Anatomy show this week. Like,
Grey's
uh,
Anatomy, yeah, that's a real popular one.
yeah, like I'm just gonna watch TV and
Mhm.
I don't know, you know, watch that Bake Off show with those British people. I like compete. I like those ones. Those are good.
Um, so you feel I'm hearing you feel better when you're at home watching TV. Um, overall, you're still feeling kind of not yourself or not great, right? Just want to make sure,
Yeah, no, I
you know
don't.
where you're at.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like myself. Like I don't know. I'm not very happy, but like at least when I'm like watching TV and drinking a beer, like I could just kind of forget about all that stuff for a while and just watch TV. Sometimes it's nice that Netflix, that thing pops up and asks me if I'm still watching because I don't even realize like I'm watching like 5 episodes in a row.
Um, yeah, that definitely that happens to me too, and you get really sucked into a show. And the worst is like when you finish the show and you're like, I don't know what to do now, that feeling. That's
Yeah,
the
that
side.
just happened.
Um, I want to transition a little bit, if you don't mind, um, back to um, your job. 'Cause I know you mentioned that right off the beginning. If it sounded like it's kind of hot on your mind, is that okay? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Um, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more, I guess, of like overall. I know like sometimes, day to day, you kind of feel tired, and it's annoying when they change your shift. Um, overall, especially compared to some of the other jobs you've had, because I know you mentioned you've had a couple. Um, kind of what's your general feeling when you think about working at Ford?
I don't know. I mean, it's just different. Like my other jobs, I just wasn't good at. Like if I ever had to like get one job, I worked the cash register and like I kept coming up short in my cash drawer at the end of the night. Like, okay, numbers they ain't my thing.
Hmm.
Or, like reception, like when I would be answering the phones and then like they was saying that like I would say things wrong or like sometimes I might slip up and like swear. Like I may have told somebody to fuck off before. Not probably good, right? But I did it. And now like at Ford, like that doesn't matter. Like I don't have to do numbers. I just have to count, We just have to hit our axle count for the shift and call it a day. Like, no one cares about swearing. Like, it's just that part's like easy. Like, the physical part of it kind of sucks. My back hurts sometimes. Like, that's new, and the money is like good. Like, I've never made $18 an hour before. Like, this has been like good, but like the guys just, I thought they would stop by now, but they're not stopping. So like they hired somebody new into the apartment. Another girl finally came in. She quit after a week, but she was there. And I thought that like that girl being there would like stop them from like saying stuff to me, and they wouldn't. And they just kept saying stuff. And now they're leaving stuff still on my machines. And it's like, I just don't want it. Like, just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go out to drink with them. I don't want to go out to drink with Cheryl. I just want to like go home and watch TV. So I'm getting really tired of that. Like they're slapping, like this guy yesterday, like came and slapped my ass, and like just they're making fun of me, and like I get it. I know I'm dumb, I'm blind, like yeah, sure, that's fine. Like absolutely, but like just like leave me alone.
Mhm. Is there anything you can do within your job place to report that or to
Well, when
change?
I told the guys to stop, like the next day I got put on nights. So it was like, like what, like am I just gonna, what are they gonna do next, like did did I get put on nights because I told somebody to stop, or like did I get put on nights just because like I got put on nights? Like I don't know. I feel like the bosses, they ain't fair. They're not fair.
So you feel like they potentially gave you a worse schedule because you spoke up about the things that were going on?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like, yeah, like I didn't really like speak up. Like I yelled at the guy like on the floor. Like I just
Right.
started yelling at him, like
Mhm,
I cussed him out. I told him to stop talking to me like that.
mhm. What other kind of tactics or ways um, of addressing this have you thought about, or have you thought about any others?
No, I mean, like I guess that's like the one way that like we always have. Like, like my brothers are pissing me off. Like you have words with them, and if like the words don't work, we would fight, like that's it. Like that's how it works.
So if so when this is happening to you at work, um, let's say a guy touches you at work, it makes you feel angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and that's totally understandable, right? None of us should have to deal with being touched unwanted. That's harassment. Um, and I'm just wondering if there are steps that you can take within, from a more organizational standpoint. Obviously you should voice your frustration, your opinion with the person directly, um, if that's happening in the moment. Um, in terms of just other ways to go about it, as well as that, I'm just wondering if that's possible, at your job. 'Cause it sounds
Yeah.
like this is a really important thing that's going on in your life. Obviously, your job is probably one of the most important things you do every day, right? Sounds like, especially given that you're supporting yourself, you're supporting your mom, who is not feeling great a lot of the time, and then you have your dad who has his own health issues and kind of struggles to support himself, especially with the language barrier, and then he's got his appointments too. Um, and you've told me, multiple times you don't want to lose your job, right? The first thing you said is, "Don't tell Ford anything I say in here." Um, so, I can tell this is something really important to you, but it's also something that's really, really bothering you, or making it, it seems like it's making it really hard on you as well. Um, so that's why I'm kind of coming at it with the sense that, like, okay, I'm hearing you don't want to lose your job. Um, and even more so, I'm hearing that you're having some pressure not to lose your job outside of just your own internal wants and needs, right, from from your parents. Um, so I'm hearing you and I'm thinking, okay, how can we go about it, or you go about it in a way where you don't lose your job, but you also, like, these issues are addressed, um, as best as they can be. Um, because I think the biggest thing I've noticed in the difference between the first time we met and now is the first time we met, you were like, oh, it's normal, like it's normal, like it kind of sucks, but whatever, I'm getting paid. And now you're saying, no, wait, now wait a minute, I thought this was going to stop, and now you're saying, okay, no, this is bothering me, that's what I'm hearing from you. Um, so I just wanted to hear from you, like, is there um, anything else? Obviously, asserting yourself is a great first step and should be enough, frankly, right? It should be enough to make that stop. But on top of that, given that it seems like it's still continuing even after you've asserted yourself, is there anything else that comes to mind in how to address this?
I mean, I guess I could talk to my union rep and see if like if he can help,
Mhm.
we just had elections, so I learned, what a union is and what the union reps do. So I guess like I can talk to that person,
Okay. Yeah,
or
that's
maybe,
good.
yeah, maybe he can like, I don't know. Well, I don't feel like if I got bumped to a different department, if it would work. Like, it doesn't feel like it would change. Like, it's kind of like the same everywhere. So maybe if I just talk to my union rep, he can like get people to back off.
Mhm. Um,
I just don't want to lose my job.
yeah, no, and that's really important. Um, I lost my train of thought, honestly. I was gonna say something, talking to your union rep. I mean, I think that's a great first step. Um, they may know a lot about kind of what you can do as an employee, right? Without losing your job. And, you have rights as an employee, especially if your work is unionized. Um, you definitely have rights. And in those rights is the right to not be harassed or touched or grabbed at work, I'm sure. Right. So um, I think that's a great first step. Um, And I think since we're kind of already almost on that subject, I know kind of at the end of last session, I asked you about a goal you have, kind of like a long term goal. And you said to me, you wanted to get another car. Um, and I think that's a great goal. And I kind of wanted to take that goal and build upon it a little bit, but also maybe some bigger scale and smaller scale goals, um, to kind of see, this is our second session, right? So as we continue to work together, we want to be working towards something, right? Like you and I, obviously, I want you, or you should also want you to be working towards something, right? Like your car. But as it relates to kind of some of the problems that you brought up, um, I was just thinking of how can we kind of like restate these issues as goals. So, for example, um, we've talked about work, right, and how it's been really sucky, kind of, for a good amount of time now. Um, and thinking about, okay, what is what is a goal we can set in order to kind of change that, change what's going on. Um, and it might not be all in your control. I mean, you can't control everybody else in the world, but you can control how you feel and kind of the things that go on in your life. So I think talking to a union rep is great, right? And you've already done a great job by asserting yourself. Is there anything else you can think of as it pertains to work, as to like what are some goals you might want to set?
Mm, I guess I don't know. I guess it's just I can only think of the union rep, you know.
Mm.
I guess if I could have like done something else just to get them laid off, I would have, you know. I guess I just don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Um, I think sometimes it can help if we think about like, what if one day, right, you woke up and you went to work at Ford and like magically everything was how you wanted it to be, right? Like no explanation, at least to your immediate knowledge as you walk into work. What would that look like?
I guess I would just be able to go into work, not be tired about it, get my work done, you know, have actual time for like a lunch,
Okay.
and then like leave and go home. And then maybe like, I don't know, actually like go and hang out with Cheryl instead of like going and watching Netflix for 5 hours instead of sleeping.
Okay. So I'm hearing a bunch of things, in that answer. And I think we could potentially kind of turn those into a couple of goals. Going into work and not being obviously harassed, right? Is something I heard, and then also not being tired really stuck out to me. We didn't really talk about your physical health much today, um, but you did mention that your back's been hurting, right?
Well, I mean, it's just work. It's
Yeah, from work.
lifting big parts.
Um, but right in this magical scenario, right, that wouldn't hurt, or you wouldn't be tired.
I wouldn't be tired, yeah.
I'd be tired, have time for lunch, right? Lunch. Um, and then also you mentioned when you get off of work, right? Um, you said you'd be able to go hang out with Cheryl.
Yeah.
And bringing back kind of what we talked about last session, I know the first thing you said to me when I asked kind of like what brings you here, what's going on, you said, I don't feel like myself, right? And kind of talked about what that means, what it means to feel like yourself and kind of getting there. So would that be okay with you if we took that one down to for you to feel like yourself? Okay, let's keep that. What do you think about those goals so far?
I think they sound good.
Sound good? Awesome. How are you feeling? We're running out of time in a second, so I just want to check back in.
No, I'm feeling good. I think now I like the only thing that like I'm thinking about is how I'm gonna go into work, and I need to find, my union rep, and maybe I should talk to them and get that settled before my shift starts, get that, whatever that is, whatever advice they have. I guess I didn't even think about like talking to them until now.
Mhm. Yeah, and I would also say, that's not the end all be all, right? So we can come back to the drawing board, and even on top of that, think about ways to go about improving. I mean, honestly, it's about you being able to have have your rights at work to exist, without being uh, harassed, touched, and all that. This is not kind of just like, oh, like I want this. It's like, no, you actually do deserve that as a person. Um, so I don't want I don't want to take that lightly, um, especially as and within our talks. Um, another thing I just wanted to touch on, if it's okay with you, before we wrap up, is are there any goals? Because we spent a lot of time talking about your family today. Um, I learned a lot about, how it was for you growing up. Um, Sounded like things weren't always really easy for you in terms of growing up in your family. Got into fights sometimes with your brothers and sisters, and even now you're kind of spread out, and you are the only one actively taking care of your parents, right? Um,
Mhm.
so do you have any goals as it pertains to your parents or your siblings?
Mm, I mean, I can't really think of any. I mean, my siblings are, the way they are. Uh, I don't know. Maybe I could be nicer to Pat.
Okay, so and that's a goal you're setting for yourself too, as it relates to your siblings. Um, and I know the goal of getting a new car definitely is in hopes of easing some of the pressure on yourself, right? Cool. And I'll just kind of put the car in the same vein as that category. Just so, the car kind of, for me, hearing what's going on with you, it sounds like the car is kind of like a symbol for uh, some independence or a little bit of more like wiggle room, right? Like not everybody's depending on you all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so could we say a little bit more independence? Would that
Yeah.
be a goal that you would want?
I mean, yeah, I want the car so that way it's like, my dad can drive himself around or drive my mom around when they need to, and I can drive myself around when I want to. Sharing a car is hard.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, I hear that. Um, okay, I think we're in a good spot. Um, at least in terms of the process, of you processing anything that's going on and healing and feeling good. Anything else you wanted to say, comment? How do you feel after today, maybe compared to the first session? I know you're still relatively new to therapy. Um, any feedback?
No, I mean, I guess I don't like, yeah, like, I mean, this is like, I don't really know what I was expecting. So yeah, this makes sense. Um, to do some of the stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming, for sharing, for being vulnerable, and talking about what's going on. Really appreciate it, and look forward to continuing to, helping you achieve the things that you want and being happy.
Well, thank you.
Have a good shift tonight as best as you can, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.